True to my apprehension, what looked like a hard-body patrol vessel not flying any colors appeared dead ahead of us. I checked into one of the 20-meter ham radio nets on the east coast of the United States, told them what was coming up and asked them to ride along with us. I watched the ship move off and go alongside a small power vessel about a half-mile to port as we passed. We never saw the ship again. I finished doing my laundry in a bucket and rinsed it overboard on a drag line, wrung it out, and clothespinned it to the lifelines to dry. Below, again, back at the radio, the guys on the net sounded worried about us. The only thing we can do, one operator was saying, is to call the Coast Guard. I checked back into the net, told them that we were okay, and thanked them. I was not sure whether I heard disappointment or consternation in their voices. When I told them, problem or not, it was behind us. I realized that we had picked up the heartbeat of some of those old guys who sit by their radios like fishermen and cast their radio signals out into the world. They had perhaps thought that they had hooked a big one, but it was just little sea legs and us nervously making our way along the Honduran coast. We continued to do well into the afternoon, and better than the boats on the outside of the reef. It always makes me happy to be doing better than another boat. They were having to work harder outside and needed to go farther north to clear the reef for the jog west to the Bay Islands of Honduras, our next port of call. We were trolling a feathered hook on a line with a rod in a rod holder astern, but had not caught anything that day. We often caught wonderful tuna, mahi-mahi, and Sierra mackerel, a white fish with golden spots and delicious white meat, ocean to microwave to mouth. The mood on the boat was now laid back, siesta time. I snapped my sailing harness into the jack line on the port side and walked forward past the jerry jugs holding deck fuel. Crouching slightly, sliding the lifeline through one hand and the cabin roof handhold through the other. Everyone was asleep. I did not want to fall overboard, even if the lanyard on my harness held at 6.5 knots, I might not be able to get back aboard. We tried to be safe at sea. I was proud we had come 5 months coasting from California without having anyone overboard. I had been sailing the boat for more than 20 years. Green at first, Judy was turning into the best sailor on the boat. The boys still did not have their sea legs, but they occasionally stood a short lookout watch topside. When it was calm during the day, at sea, when we were on deck, we all wore life jackets with strobe lights and had our sailing harnesses snapped into a jack line or a pad eye. We did not let the boys above when it was rough or at nighttime. We moved at hull speed, motor sailing between ports if the wind and water permitted, and sailed day and night when we were making a passage. We always had someone on deck on lookout. I climbed out onto the bowsprit platform, a wonderful place underway in fair weather. I'm usually fairly well tuned into the boat and enjoy the feeling of the boat coming to life when it begins to move. 6 to 7 knots under sail can feel like whitewater rafting. You look aft, see the wake, feel the movement, away from the engine noise if the engine is on. When the engine is off, you can enjoy more silence and see the whole show up there in front and above the sound where the boat is breaking water. You are alone, but in thrusting, monumental contact with great nature. Dolphins race to ride the pressure wave at the bow and stack up one over the other, looking up at you on the bowsprit through the water. Up there, the sea smells come to you fresh, sometimes smells of land, vegetation. I looked down and saw sandy bottom and coral. Bancos de Cabo Faso, 3 nautical miles from where I had expected it to be. It was south of the charted position. I ran back to the cockpit muttering my mantra. Consider you may not be where you think you are, always. I thought of diving for a fish or a lobster, but there was current. I decided not to risk it. It was time to head west. By twilight, we could hear other boats to north at a possible land anchorage by radio. We were moving well and feeling okay. We had another 24 hours to go to Isla de Granaja. The wind and water of the Caribbean were giving us a break. So we went on into the night. We could see the comet Hale-Bopp in the sky.